They don't just say like, hey, turn the tension. It's like, all right, you came here for a big, good reason, and you don't want to leave here without any change in your life. So reach down. And you've got soul, and we're going to crank that bitch 4 times. Between the Reps with Brooke and Jeanna is a CastBox original, produced alongside Studio 71.
CastBox is the fastest growing and highest rated podcast app on both iOS and Android, where you can find all your favorite podcasts.
You can listen to Between the Reps wherever you get your podcasts, but we hope you'll give CastBox a shot. We think it's the best. Hey guys, we are back in the studio, and just as I promised from last week's podcast, today we're talking about SoulCycle, which is basically a dance class
on a bike.
If a dance class and a spin class fucked, you'd have SoulCycle.
Which I had no idea what it was.
No, it was way more amazing than I thought it would be.
It was awesome, but it was very different than what I thought I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
We'll just say that. So we'll get back to that later.
As soon as we walked in, I realized what was going to happen, and you and I, because there was some problems trying to get us into a class, were so far away from one another. I was just laughing. I wanted to see your face so bad.
I was so glad I was in the back. Okay, do you want to start out?
Yeah, guys, we're
talking a little info.
Yeah, we're talking about SoulCycle. SoulCycle is a spin class. It's a cycling class. That's a group fitness class, and we had been challenged. Another challenge, which was awesome. We've been challenged to go and try it out and then report back. Report back about it, our experience with it, and probably if we wanted to recommend it. So I went ahead and just found like your basic information about the founders, things like that. I'm gonna tell you about it. And then after our break, we'll talk about our very personal experience. So SoulCycle, I'm going to give you a little bit of history. This is from Wikipedia. In 1996, Ruth Zuckerman was introduced to spin classes, and she was drawn to the physical and mental aspects of it because it was helping her through a divorce. Oh. Fitness,
it helps.
In general, not just divorces, but it really does help with stress and mental health and things like that. You work out to get endorphins. Mm-hmm. It works. So the co-founders of SoulCycle were actually Elizabeth Cutler and Julie Rice, and they came together with Ruth and playing on this idea of fitness. So Ruth she became a fitness instructor, and she was teaching at a Reebok gym where she worked for a long time. She worked for 6 years. So Ruth was really into fitness and health and working on doing things like that for her mental health, working through a divorce. And she ended up teaching a fitness class through a Reebok gym when her instructor left. She took up teaching. And, years later, they decided to create some sort of a program. They wanted to create some sort of fitness program that followed her same teaching style. Okay. So group fitness, right? And obviously something that's going to bring people together. It's going to create a community. It's going to make you happy, all of this stuff. And she ended up co-founding SoulCycle with Elizabeth Cutler and Julie Rice, which those two women, which I found on the SoulCycle website, they met in a thing called Best Blind Date Ever.
What?
I didn't have any other information about that. I don't know if that's it was a TV show or it was literally on a blind date, but that's where they met, and it kind of just went from there. They loved the idea of creating this, moving forward with this like SoulCycle idea. And on the Wikipedia, on the wiki, Rice was a talent agent prior to the beginning of SoulCycle, and she obtained her fitness passion from her father, who was a physical education teacher. And Rice developed SoulCycle to change New York's so it started in New York.
Okay.
And they wanted to change New York's attitude towards exercise from being more of a requirement, to a social experience like it is in LA. Okay. So she was wanting to start something out there that could feel more social and less of like a demand or a requirement, which it is definitely very social. I think fitness in California is very social. basically, it went on to being founded in 2005. They met in 2006. Their first studio opened.
It's been around a while.
Yeah, 2007. Their second studio opened.
Okay.
2009. They had their first instructor training. So now they started training their instructors, right? Because obviously they're growing, and you have all these. When you start having either affiliations or you start opening multiple gyms, you have not a lot. It's harder to have control over the quality.
Sure.
Right? 2011, they partnered with Equinox, which is the one that we went to. So we went to a SoulCycle that's literally, which I didn't realize that. I didn't put two together, but now I get it.
Yeah, they were right across
Club Equinox
from each other.
is like a Globo gym. A beautiful one, by the way.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah, and they had like a cafe in there.
I know.
So the SoulCycle was right next to Equinox. In 2013, it came to the Bay Area, which we have not taken a class in the Bay Area. So now that's where Jeanna and I live. We may be going to find one.
I know. Well, I think there might be. Yeah. Anyway,
we're going to find
like 30
one.
minutes
We
away
liked
or
it that
something.
much that I think we're going to do it more often. So in 2015, they launched their mobile app, which gives you a lot of information about the company. But here are some of the features. You can reserve your bike.
Okay.
So you probably are able to go into the app, find a location, reserve your bike. Yes, there are a limited amount of spots in there, and it's popular. Like I think we got the last two bikes.
We did,
and we went at nighttime. Everything you need to find your soul. Everything you need to find your soul. That's what it says. Reserve your favorite
your
bike.
soulmate.
Buy classes quickly, easily. Add classes to your calendar. On that note, you said that your classes can expire.
Yeah.
So they don't last forever. So don't buy a massive pack if you're not guaranteed
planning on
to
going.
use them.
Yeah.
You can bookmark classes, discover new rides and instructors. And I did find out they do a lot of charity stuff. So I'm sure they have, information on a calendar in there where you can get that too. So
Very cool.
What they do to be philanthropic?
Philanthropic?
That's definitely not how you say it. Philanthropy is they do charity rides. And at these charity rides, the bikes are sold for fundraiser. Also, they help, it says each year they help raise around $2.5 million.
It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Other things they do. Their HQ, their staff, they do a lot of volunteering, and they call it soul-tearing.
That's cool.
Soul-tearing Day, which is things like going to the soup kitchen on Thanksgiving, right? Going to the homeless shelter, feeding people on Thanksgiving.
I like them even more now.
Yeah. Also working on local projects. So they talked about on their website, like garden projects for schools, or I know like in Santa Cruz, there's a lot of like homeless shelter garden projects, a lot of places like that. So they really do try to give back as much as possible, which makes sense because they're very big on the community aspect. And we felt that.
Oh, definitely.
Heavily.
It
was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah.
It was awesome until the first time he made us raise our hand.
I know, that was awkward.
It didn't bother me, but it was like, yeah, I'm new.
I don't think the two people that were next to me were super surprised that it was my first time. I'm just gonna put it that way.
Just hearing about you laughing the entire time makes me laugh.
It was hard. So the pricing.
Oh yeah, very important.
Yeah, so the pricing, you can buy one class, which is what we did for $30. But again, all of these expire. So you have to make sure you look at them, and they kind of all expire like different days. But for the most part, it looks like the least amount of time is like 30 days. But anyway, so you would definitely want to check that when you buy them.
Damn, that's actually, I'd be in trouble.
Well, so yeah, but
I'm known for buying stuff and then all of a sudden having things come up so fast.
Yeah.
That
it looks like as you get more of them, it gives you more time.
Okay.
So that is good. But anyway, so for 5 classes, it's about $145. 10 classes is about $280. 20 classes is about $540. And
it's expensive.
It's expensive. 30 classes is $780. And I mean, so for that one, for instance, you have like a full year to use the 30 classes.
Yeah.
So, and then Super Soul.
What's that?
Is 50 classes. Wait, this doesn't really make sense. Oh, I guess it does. Super Soul is 50 classes for $3,500.
Looks like if you have soul, you also have very deep pockets.
Well, and then you have to buy shoes, right?
No. Oh, you
can rent them, but it's
but
$3
you
every
just,
time you rent
just,
them.
If you're going to go, if you're super soul, buy your own shoes. But if you do, you got to make sure, because every bike has this very specific clip-in. So I don't know if you're familiar. I'm very familiar now because I'm a cyclist.
I'm a cyclist now.
But there's different shoes you can get, and then they have the different attachments, different clips that look a little bit different. So if you're like, I already have riding shoes. Like, for instance, I do. But I realized when I went in there, my attachment is not
different clips?
Yeah, it's totally different.
Oh, okay.
So I would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
I would have got there and been like, look how prepared I am. Then been like, $3, please. Like, those won't work.
Put them in the locker.
Yeah. So, all right, little rundown. Our sign up process wasn't terrible. You go online, you buy a class, you pick the time you're going. It pulls up this map of the room. So you can see where the instructor is, where all the bikes are at, and what are open and what are not. You pick your bike, you're locked in. You get there early, you check in, and when they're ready to go, you go in. They have a towel on every bike. There's a place on your bike for water. They have free weights on your bike because there's weights in there.
Yeah, which, okay, we'll
It's
get
kind
to
of
that.
crazy.
But
Yeah, we'll get to that. But you get on your bike and everyone just kind of warming up, and it is like a nightclub.
it is.
I'd never really seen videos of it, and I honestly hadn't heard too much. Like, I knew that there was music, and I took spin classes like when I was really young, when I'd go to the gym with my parents, and my dad is really big into cycling. And so, and they always had music. They had the instructor up there, but it has been reinvented in such a better way.
It's got a lot of energy.
So much energy.
Yeah.
So the pictures I've seen before, I saw dark room. It's like it's not just a dark room. They bring in these candles. It's like candlelit, and they've got these colors, and they have the instructors up in the front. You have the guy we had a gentleman who is on the mic. He's got his bike. There's this arm, like a computer type setup that's out from his bike. That's where he's probably controlling the music. That's where he's controlling lights and stuff like that. But also I noticed there's some other people that come in too. Like, they have like the SoulCycle shirts on, and
Yeah, what were they doing?
it's almost like they were changing some lights for him.
Oh, okay.
And I saw him. I saw him communicating sort of to them.
Yeah.
And because there's moments in the music, in the songs, where the lights change to the music.
Right.
You know, and so it's really choreographed.
It is. It's like being in a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You start. The lights go out. It was like really dark and red, and they shut the door. They don't turn the fan on because they wanted to get hot and sweaty.
I was so excited when I was next to a fan and it wasn't on. I just wanted to get off my bike and go turn it on.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Turns into a sauna in there.
Yeah. I was just pouring sweat.
Well, you've done a cycling class before, so
Yeah, you
I
had
went in blind. I had
Yeah.
no idea what it was. I honestly just thought it was like, changing the tension, like riding fast,
Yeah.
riding slow. When I got in there, well, first of all, I couldn't get clipped in. I don't cycle. So I sat there forever trying to get my damn shoes clicked in.
Yeah.
I kept having to ask this girl questions like to the left of me, and I think I was bothering the crap out of her, so I was finally like, I'm just going to, wing this. So I think I was doing the turns wrong. They have you like turn the tension at different things.
They don't just say like, hey, turn the tension. It's like, all right, you came here for a big, good reason, and you don't want to leave here without any change in your life. So reach down.
Reach down.
And you've got soul, and we're going to crank that bitch 4 times.
And then I'm like cranking it the wrong way, and I'm like, why am I going so fast? My legs are going so much
Meanwhile,
faster.
everyone's going
Oh my
slower.
God.
Okay.
Oh my God. Well, no, what killed me was that all of a sudden, like everyone's like up and riding, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I got this. I'm clipped in. I'm good. And then all of a sudden they're like, and 2. And then all of a sudden,
They're
like,
dancing.
They're dancing
It's like-
on their bikes.
Yeah. It's like my arms were getting really tired,
The
actually.
rhythm that you have to have.
It's very, I kept thinking about, when someone has you like pat your head and rub your belly.
Yeah.
That's it. Because you're keeping that pace with your legs, but they want your upper body to move to the beat of the music.
I look like such an idiot.
Which, that's what I was wishing I could see you, because for me, like, there was definitely, it's a learning curve.
Rhythm
well, I danced.
And
I mean, I danced into college. Yes. Yeah. So
you kind of have both of those backgrounds. I have neither one.
It was very intense. It was very like, in a weird way, it was very spiritual. And it was like a modern day, I want to say like yoga class, not in the sense of like sitting and stretching, but in a sense of like trying to connect to like your whole being and, you know, and feel more open and happy and connected to the people around you and, you know, all of that stuff, but all done to awesome music.
Yeah, I know. It was
epic music.
It was awesome. You know what I thought was funny too, though? I mean, like you're kind of packed in there. The people that are bent over in front of you, you're literally so close to their butts.
Oh.
You're so close to the butt in front of you. Like, I just kept thinking, what if somebody farts in here?
Oh, they probably did.
Oh, I mean, I never smelled anything myself, but all I kept thinking was like, I am so close to this. Like, I would want to be in the very back.
Yeah.
For sure. Anyway.
You're not trying to brown nose anyone, you know? All right, guys.
You're really hunched over.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back. This episode of Between the Reps is brought to you by PowerDot. PowerDot is the world's smartest muscle recovery and performance tool. It's a personal eStim device that connects to your mobile app via Bluetooth, so you can take it with you anywhere. That's actually what has been the most amazing thing about it for me. I travel a lot, and it is really hard for me to recover when I'm training a lot and when my volume's up. And more than that, when I'm traveling can be so hard on your body. And since using PowerDot, it's made my life a whole lot easier. It's really small, compact, and I can travel with it in the cabin, and I can pull it out whenever I need to. Also, it charges with a USB. So if you are in the seats on the plane where you can plug your phone in, you can also plug in your PowerDot and charge it up. When you're using it, it is like a massage, but better because it can help reduce soreness, strains, pulls, things like that. It's increasing blood flow to the stressed area, and that is going to help it heal a whole lot faster. High-level athletes and physicians have been using this technology for decades, but it's been extremely expensive. It's not something that is easily accessible to a lot of different levels of athletes, or just honestly everyday people that are also trying to be active and lead active lives. But now you can get it for pennies on the dollar. It's super affordable, and where in the past something like this would be extremely expensive and someone like your doctor or your physical therapist would be the only person that would have it, now you can get it for a much affordable price and take it with you everywhere. PowerDot is giving my listeners a chance to win a PowerDot unit. Go to powerdot.com/reps for more info on how to enter and use the code REPS, R-E-P-S, at checkout to get 20% off your order. That's powerdot.com/reps for your chance to win. And remember to enter my code REPS to get 20% off your order. That's powerdot.com/reps. And again, don't forget to enter my code REPS, R-E-P-S, at checkout for 20% off your order. Hopefully you're still listening and that brown nose joke made you chuckle and you haven't left quite yet.
Or they're offended and they're gone.
We're on these bikes. It's crazy intense. I'm a dancer. I love it. I mean, the second I got on that bike, they turned the lights down. Dude, he just cranks the music up.
He's just yelling and motivating.
They're bringing candles in like we're going to have a fucking seance. And I'm just grinning. I mean, I had the biggest smile on my face. I also was chuckling at some of the girls that I was looking at them. I like to observe people, and we haven't really started yet. And they're on their bike, and they're looking at themselves in the mirror, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna ride this bike.
I'm gonna get this.
Yes, and I was again looking for you, so we could touch nose, like nose, like you see what I'm seeing. But I couldn't see you.
Well, and also what's so funny, so like you're going, right? And we're all just sweating, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was awesome. The energy was so cool. And then, but it's funny because like they build you up and you're just spinning. And then all of a sudden they're like, and I can't remember like what the cue was, because I have a really hard time with the microphones. Like my hearing is terrible. So anytime they're talking on it, it's like, sounds like there's like, it's like muffled.
Like the whole they're time. Underwater.
Yeah. So I was like, wait, what's going to happen? And I'm constantly like, because you change your hand position the whole time too.
We're going to do around the world.
And I'm like looking at the girl to the right and the left and trying to figure out where my hands are supposed to go. And then all of a sudden it's like, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, huh. And then they freaking turn the lights on.
They did.
I was so comfortable. I was so comfortable because it was dark in there, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care how dumb I look, or you know how bad I look, or anything else. And all of a sudden they're like, and they flip those flipping lights on, and I'm like, holy crap! I look crazy. I look crazy. And then you're just like waiting for them to flip them back off, and so they do that a couple times. So I was a little disappointed in that.
A few times.
You don't really SoulCycle. You don't have to flip the lights on.
No one wants to see me.
No one wants to see that. So
yeah, we know what that made me think of?
What?
Like
when you meet somebody in a bar.
Yeah. No, a couple things. I would say, what would happen if you were in a strip club and they turned the lights on?
Oh well, yeah.
There's a reason why they're off.
There is.
Also, or like you go out with friends and you're all dressed up, like let's say Halloween, and you go out and you're sweating and drinking and dancing. And then the shame walk home.
When you go outside.
And you go into the bathroom when you get home, you're like, you go into the bathroom to wash like your makeup off and you're like, oh my God.
Look awful. Yeah. Anyway, that was yeah. That part was not my favorite.
Yeah, no. As soon as the light turns on, I thought about you so many times during that class.
I knew it. Well, so what's funny too is like, I was telling you last night, I felt like at one point, because you're hunched way over.
Yes. Yes. At different times. Because sometimes they're like, they have you sit with your hips back, and other times they have you up high.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement.
But at one point, you're like, you're supposed to put your butt really back far, and then you're supposed to kind of pump your body up and down.
Yeah.
So it almost looks like everyone's panting.
Yeah.
You know? And I just like thought of like in I Am Legend. You know that Will Smith movie?
The zombies.
Like where all the zombies are like in that, like when they're in the dark and they're all like breathing and stuff. And I was like, it's like a little scary in here.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
So, yeah.
Everyone's just going to transform.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I'm in a scary movie.
Yeah.
I just turn around and it's full of vampires.
I definitely felt like the community aspect as soon as we went in there. And to be honest, we're in LA. So when we first showed up, and we were just in that area, like where we were in town. We went to the SoulCycle it's off of Sunset in West Hollywood. Beautiful, beautiful location.
Gorgeous facility.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And oh my God, the
bathrooms. The bathrooms have everything, and everything's organized so beautifully.
Yeah. It was
hair ties,
really,
tampons.
Yeah, gum. Deodorant. Full showers, towels.
They even had more stuff. I can't even remember.
All kinds of stuff. Yeah. But I kind of felt like before we went inside, I could feel that it was LA. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Sorry, guys, if you're from LA. No offense. But I could feel that it was LA. And we went in there, and it was great because, especially with the instructor that we had, it didn't feel like that. It was very comfortable.
Yeah, it felt like everybody was like really liking to be together.
And community. And it's like, that's what we love about group fitness. That's what we love about our CrossFit gym. That's what we love about that. It's coming together, and it was cool to be in there, and everyone was working so hard. Same as a CrossFit gym. No one's looking around. If you tried to look around, you'd probably end up like Amy Schumer in Pretty. I Am Feel Pretty.
I had to look around a little bit because I didn't know what we were doing.
I mean, in a sense of like, there's moments where you're moving so fast, you take your focus off of yourself, and you're gonna end up with your hair stuck in a crash. Yeah, Amy Schumer.
That's true.
And there just wasn't that. If I didn't expect for me to feel so comfortable or not accepted, but like a part of the gang, right? At least not my first class. Maybe if I was going there and I lived here and I was going there so many times, but I actually did. The instructor was super friendly, and it was funny because I wish we
could remember his name. He was awesome.
He was really great, and it was funny because in the beginning of class, you can feel the energy. It's like they don't just blast music with high intensity. It's like it builds you up, and they definitely, like, the energy of the class moves with the music. It comes up and takes a break and comes up and takes a break. And he mentions to everyone, he doesn't just say it. He's like feeling it. Like he's like preaching. Like he was a preacher.
Yeah.
He's talking about how they had three newcomers. It was our first classes, and he says my name.
He said all of our names.
He says mine and Gina's and the other person's name. And he's just talking about how, like, they came here to see what SoulCycle's all about. We're gonna show them.
And then everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah.
They were like our cheerleaders.
And again, I had a smile from ear to ear the whole time. I mean, I love music and I love movement and I love to dance. And when it's hard work to make change in your body, in your life, in your mind, in your heart. But like, let's just pertaining to fitness, it's very hard. You have to work hard. You cannot expect to have change or gains or lose weight or gain muscle. It's not easy. It's like, and in that moment, you're able to really just, be a slobbering mess.
Yeah.
And everyone is. And it's, again, in CrossFit, like I love that. And I remind people when they want to try CrossFit and they're so nervous about, I got to get in shape first. No,
yeah, that makes no sense.
It's like remind people and letting them know, like, it's not like your typical global gym where lots of people are taking breaks or casually doing their workout and observing or, people around them. Everyone is there.
And they're working
and
hard.
Everyone is there to work hard and focus on themselves, and it was very cool. I 100% will go again.
I would go again.
I think it's very expensive.
It is.
But I can understand why the demand is probably very high. They want, I don't know, like, obviously I don't know like a salary or like what the coaches get paid, but to find someone like who we had last night and have that is valuable.
Yeah.
So I imagine, and they say on their website, they train their coaches, and I think it's very important for a company to put that effort and that time and that money into people that they want to have forever,
Absolutely.
Versus just like someone who like got their NASM certification and they're just going to, work as a personal trainer while they put themselves through college or whatever. Right. Like that's cool too. But for people that are making fitness and health like a huge part of their life, it is.
You want somebody with that passion.
I'm very grateful for people that also make being a coach or being someone, honestly, like in that case, you're a coach, but you're also like a therapist.
Motivational speaker.
Yeah. You're my therapist. You're my motivational speaker. So, if you're all those things, I guess the price definitely works out. Yeah. Makes sense. Jeanna, do you think that you would, well, I feel like I know the answer to this question, but our listeners may not know it. Okay. Would you want to add something like SoulCycle into like a regular sort of training thing where you kind of add it in as cardio?
I would for sure. Yeah, I would. I would probably do just for variation because I get tired of doing the same things all the time.
Yeah. And it's honestly, it's like Bikram cycling.
Yeah, it is. It is. Your skin feels so great when you get out.
You do. You get a nice sweat as well as a great workout.
Oh, I liked that they incorporated the arms in it a little bit.
They do work to make it a full body.
Yeah.
Oh, and they did the thing where, they focused on driving with your toes. Mm-hmm. Make it very quad dominant, and then they would go, and now with your heels. So you're driving your pedals with your toes and then your heels. Mm-hmm. So they really do, it was full body.
It was.
100%. Majority of the time, you're out of the saddle. Saddle being your seat. Mm-hmm. And I had heard...
My legs were cramping.
We had heard that it could be, it's kind of hard on your butt. And then I thought to myself, oh, well, if it's like your typical cycling like saddle or a seat, you probably need bike shorts, Mm-hmm. You don't. Because you're like, the amount of time you're actually sitting on the bike is not enough.
My butt hurt a little. I think it depends on the person. Because you've been cycling. I think it was my first time. Oh, that's true.
I have been sitting on a bike.
Maybe you have like a, I don't know, you've gotten a tolerance.
Yeah.
Butt tolerance?
Butt stuff. Well, all in all, I absolutely loved it. I am going to, for sure, when we're, in the Bay Area, check out where all the locations are. Mm-hmm. And then I'm in LA a lot. And we're here with you. I'm here with you at least once a month. Yeah. So I think we'll go back to that location and take some more classes. I had a really good time.
I did too.
Yeah.
I would do it.
I highly recommend you guys check it out. If you have any interest at all. For sure, if you don't like group fitness, you don't like being close to people, you don't like the dark, you don't like music, and you don't like to dance, it may not be for you.
It's not for you at all. Don't go.
Or if you don't like to sweat. All right, we're going to move on into some Q&A, our little question and answer segment. Again, you guys can leave us questions about anything that you're interested in. Sometimes I will put out on my social media, what our particular topic is, so we can get very specific questions, but that's not going to be the case all the time. I want to make sure that we take this time to touch on everything that you want to know. So yeah, please interact with us. Makes this way more fun and more entertaining. All right. This has to do with diet. Courtney_L Bro. Do you intermittent fast? So if you guys aren't familiar with intermittent.
Oh my God! Please keep going.
If you're not,
nope.
Intermittent fasting. Thanks, Jeanna.
Good job.
Words are hard. It has to do with fasting intermittently. Usually people will, do something in the morning like a bulletproof coffee. If you don't know what that is, it's just a whole bunch of butter in your coffee. Mm-hmm. Well, also, I hope you have a toilet close by. And then not eating a lot throughout the day, but having your exercise level really high, and then taking in a large sum of calories in the late afternoon to evening. Obviously, some people can do this a little bit differently as far as food timing, and I do not intermittent fast that often. I do like to fast through breakfast sometimes, especially if I'm going to do exercise in the morning. I started from training with my coach, my endurance coach, Chris Hinshaw. We were discussing just ways of getting my body to use like fat as fuel. Mm-hmm. Depending on the person, some people are really good at utilizing fat as fuel and other people aren't. We're better at using carbohydrates. Typically, athletes are better at using carbohydrates. So what we would do, and what I still do now, is if I'm going to go running in the morning, I would do like my run or my bike ride or whatever in a fasted state.
Fasted cardio.
Yep, and do fasted cardio in the morning. But I have thought about wanting to play with intermittent fasting.
I don't know enough about it.
Honestly, just as I age, and then also depending on what my activity level is. I feel like I would want to play with it more when my activity level is lower, not when it's higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. And different things work for different people. I think that could be a great topic for another time, and really dive deep into that, and maybe even have a guest on. Yeah, guys, we're not against guests. We're going to bring on some experts for different topics, because obviously we're not experts.
We're not experts.
All right, here's a question.
Shoot.
From _sincerely Stevie. She says, do you get your lips done? And if so, how long does it last before you have to get them done again? Sorry. I do get, what did I use last time? Not Juvederm, a different one. Injected around my lip line to give me a more defined lip line. And my top lip is uneven, right side to left side. And guess what? I like getting them fixed. So I do it because I want to. I know you're not asking me. I know, Stevie, you're not asking me because you're like, you don't need to do it, or why would you do that? I'm just letting everyone else know. I get them touched up. I get my top lip touched up. What would you say, Jen? Like every 8 months?
Yeah.
Every 8 months?
Yeah.
Everybody's different about how fast your body will metabolize it. Yeah. So those injectables
and if you're more active, that you can metabolize it quicker.
Yeah. Those injectables are made up of hyaluronic acid, which our body naturally produces. So we metabolize it. It's made up of exactly what we already have in our body. And athletes tend to metabolize stuff like that a little bit faster. So 8 months.
I would say that.
How long? How about for you?
I started doing it. Mine was a little bit different because as you age, you start to kind of like lose the volume. So mine wasn't necessarily to change the look of it. It was just more to keep them looking more youthful, less wrinkles in them. And then I started to get wrinkles in the top. So I actually am due to probably do it again. But I've done it for the last couple years, I think. Yep. And probably about the same thing. Probably like 8 months or something. Yeah.
Yeah, there you have it. This is the last question from Florian Rousseau _Oli. Do you practice very often road cycling? What's the benefit for CrossFit? Well, CrossFit is performing functional movements at high intensity and
constantly varied
and across all modal domains. So it is a complete direct. It is CrossFit.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we ride bikes. So the correlation is that I'm just being very specific, picking one modality and training it a little bit more. It's no different than if we were going to do a bunch of running, But I will say how I have personally experienced this direct transition is I started cycling a lot and I was putting off my running because I really was loving my bike.
New and fun to do.
And my coach, we're getting back into my training as I'm getting more recovered, and he kept programming to do a 1 mile time trial, and that's because we need a new baseline for training. We need a new baseline so we can have very precise speeds and just like times and things for my workouts and paces. Well, I kept putting it off. Why? Because a 1 mile time trial is awful. I mean, it should be hard.
Right.
So I finally was like, okay, I'll just go do it. I haven't been running. So I was like mentally preparing myself to be like, it may not be something you're super proud of. It for sure probably isn't going to be your fastest mile ever because you haven't ran in so long, right. And you've like taken how much time off from getting your shoulders done and all this stuff where I couldn't be bouncing. And so I went to the track and I ran my mile and it felt awful. I mean, I'm running, it's hard, my legs felt really heavy, and I finished and I hit time on my timer, and it was my fastest to date mile.
Really?
I PR'd a new personal best of my 1 mile at a track.
And it didn't feel great.
No, I mean, and it shouldn't.
Right.
It shouldn't feel great,
right.
But I did not expect to go my fastest. It was a 6:29. The fastest I have ever done a mile was like a 6:36 maybe.
Okay.
And when I was training with Hinshaw and we were training a lot, he was like, oh, we can get you to a 6-minute mile. But that was when, and I was like, okay, and I could see that happening, but that was when I was training. Like we were running
all the time,
3 days a week,
right.
And that was a goal. So this was now something that I haven't ran in so long like that. I hadn't been training at a track or training different running workouts in so long. I definitely wasn't training in a way to try and get a faster mile time. Right. And all I was doing was cycling. But what was happening is like for me, my lungs are very powerful. I have great endurance lungs, but my body is like built for speed and power. And I'll fatigue, like especially my legs, like that fatigue will build, and that's what will slow me down well before my lungs. And I think I know, being on a bike and climbing and sort of doing interval training on a bike and up in the mountains and going on cycling, you're constantly moving. I mean, even when it's really, really hard, as soon as you kind of reach the peak, you don't just stop. I was getting my body to be able to flush out lactic acid. Those of you that are like, lactic acid is bullshit. Okay, well, I'm sorry, another time. But flush out fatigue while still training. And that's something that we practice in CrossFit. Like, you don't just recover by stopping. Try and walk. Get on the bike and cool down.
Right.
Get on the rower and cool down. Don't just stop. And that was a direct correlation. Like I hadn't been running at all. I had only been cycling, but because I was still putting my body, especially my lower body, through a training that was building fatigue and getting stronger at it, and very aerobic, and then getting it to flush out and recover while still moving.
Right.
I ran my 1 mile. I had not been running at all, but I ran my fastest ever.
Yeah.
And that is something that can happen a lot in sport or in training. You may not be doing cleans or doing power cleans for months, but you might be on a deadlift cycle.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you go to do a power clean or, whatever.
You're stronger.
And you PR.
Right.
Because you've been pulling, you're stronger. You've been working all these muscles. When you deadlift, you brace your core, you're using your legs, you're using your back, your arms. And now you go to be powerful and you just pull it off the ground. You haven't been cleaning. So why would that happen? Just, there's a ton of crossover in training. Sorry. Squeaky. Anyway, yes, cycling. It definitely helps with CrossFit. I do love focusing on it. It's really, really fun. And I think in training, it's very important to be enjoying what you're doing and trying new things sometimes. Make it a little bit more fun.
Bored.
Yeah. Are you going to cycle with me or only in SoulCycle?
Just SoulCycle, I think.
Well, how funny would it be to like show up to a SoulCycle class with like your helmet? Like full kit.
I've joked about wearing a helmet while working out because I feel like I have every other like safety device on. Maybe like a mouth guard and a helmet. Just like it hurts so often.
It'd be a really good video. Like just like almost like a hidden camera video. You show up to a SoulCycle class or just to a gym and
like
you're
my
in
weight
like
belt, my knee pads.
Yes.
Neck brace.
We might have to try that out.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we have for some questions today. Next week we'll be pulling some new ones.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this whole
list. We're knocking one out at a time.
Long episode. That's actually our strategy, is to keep the episodes short enough that we can keep you around for hopefully the whole thing and not bore you too soon. So thanks for listening to Between the Reps with Brooke and Jeanna. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. 5-star rating, please. We're having a fantastic time. Engage with us. Send us comments. Send us questions. And we will talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.